to the Chai Tea Podcast.
What did they talk about?
I don't know, let's find out.
Hello. Welcome to the Chai Tea Podcast. We kind of jinxed ourselves in the last episode when we said we've done 3 in a month. And then we made up for it with a long absence in February. But March is upon us, spring in some parts of the world. Not where I am though. It is, it is below freezing. But that doesn't dampen our spirits. And here we are to talk about school days and times and memories from school. So, let us start off first by. Oh, we should let you know who's on the pod. Surprise, surprise! It's the same 3 people. Yes. This is myself, Max. Yeah, I'm in Bundi. Say hello.
Hi guys.
Yes, so same 3 people, but different stories. So let's start off with talking about schools. Bundi, how many schools have you studied in?
One, if you don't count like preschool and stuff, one, like from LKG to class 12.
Wow. So
I
you
have
must
a
be like
guest
the
also.
the dada of the school, and like
Acha, acha,
all
acha.
the teachers know you. Like tomorrow, if you become like some really big posh CEO, they'll go to your school. They know at least know which school to go to and get interviews from teachers and stuff
If
like
they
that.
go to my school and get stories, they will kick me out of the CEO position. Okay, that is what is going to happen. But yeah, one school, I did go to a preschool in Coimbatore and a preschool in Chennai, but those are different stories for a different day. But predominantly one school for as long as I can remember.
Yam, what's your school count?
2. One in Tirunelveli, one in Coimbatore.
Like from when to when?
Oh, I guess the LKG to middle of third standard, which is around 92. I'm dating myself, but who cares? Was in Tirunelveli. It was actually a pretty famous school called Pushpalata. And
I think that's
from
the name of your teacher. That's the name of the school.
no, that's actually the name of the school also. Teachers, the teachers there I don't remember, but I do remember my principal because she and I were very good friends. It's a very weird thing to say for a 7-year-old, but yeah. And the second school was Saints in Coimbatore, which is also where I finished my 12th grade, which was a very well-known school, reputed for multiple reasons. Yeah, so there also I was very friendly with the principal. So I guess I have a thing for authority.
Oh, nice. So my count is 4.
Not
Okay,
bad
Um,
actually. I was expecting
not
way more
bad.
than that.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
expecting way more.
No, so it was no, actually no. It's 2 schools in sorry, 5. 2 schools in Bombay, 1 in Baroda, and then 2 schools in Hyderabad.
Oh, name the schools. Name the schools.
Um, let's see. I think so. Okay. I only remember two of the names. So, but the thing in Hyderabad was our school was Bhavan's, and I was there from like 6th onwards, and for some reason they stopped it at 10. They didn't have +2 there, so then I had to go elsewhere to do my +2. And
Hey, hi. Hello, Bhavan's
I
person
know
here.
in that episode when you're telling my Bhavans, my MS Subbulakshmi would come to me, and I was just like, okay, I should probably not mention the same. We are not as posh as you. MS
No, you
Subbulakshmi and
guys
all
are.
never came to just sing in our school. So I was like,
No,
okay, I
you
should just
wait,
guys
keep
is
are
that.
that
all
literally the
posher.
same school?
It's a chain.
It's a
It's
chain.
same.
Bhavan's is a
It's
chain,
the
yeah.
it's the Anand Adyar Bhavan of CBSE
Adyar
Wait,
school.
Ananda Bhavan. Not Anand Adyar Bhavan. Where Max, come on.
A to B.
A to B.
A,
Let's leave it.
A
A
to
to be married, BVB.
It is the A to B. The BVB is the A to B of the CBSE network. They have one everywhere. Uh,
Yeah, our campus was started by C. Subramaniam. That much I remember. And ours was metric.
yeah. So
Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty details of what are the differences between the two schools.
But you don't remember our full schools?
uh,
Five. Five,
So I
five.
remember
Five.
I remember one of the schools in Bombay. It was called Somani. GD Somani was one of the schools in Bombay. In Baroda, I think it was called Saishav, and then Bhavans, and then Sri Chaitanya was where I did my plus two.
Oh, that's not a coaching center.
That's a
No,
college.
it's actually
Oh,
it's called a junior college where
ah,
you do your plus two and then they and then
that's the one in Amirpet or Kukatpalli, right? Sri
yeah, and
Chaitanya.
then the evenings you have coaching for all
Ah,
the competitive exams, and then
yeah,
you
yeah,
lose your life.
yeah.
Quite literally, actually, quite some people sadly actually really lost their lives, unable to
Oh,
keep up with
pressure, huh?
all of the, you know, I mean, from morning 8 to evening 7 o'clock in one place, and some poor chaps, come from like out of town, so they're now in a hostel,
Hostel.
and so their day never ends. At least our day would end by 7 o'clock. At least they would let us go home.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but no, Bombers was actually probably most fun because the other two I don't have that many memories from because they were like second standard, third standard, up to fifth standard, and so on. But from sixth onwards, I was so those 4 years probably at least I have my most memories from. Um,
Ah,
and a lot of the notorious things and all were in those 4 years. So
Typical of
that's
any Bhavan, I think.
yeah, that's the thing. But it's a cult also. Like I've found now on Instagram, or not Instagram, sorry, on LinkedIn, people are putting in their LinkedIn bios the word Bhavanite. I didn't. That's when I realized that that's the thing. Uh,
on
I would
LinkedIn
never.
bios?
yeah, like just like how they put IIT, IIM, and then they also
They
put
put
Bhavan.
Bhavanite.
So,
Okay.
like, okay, what misplaced pride is this? That
I would I had fun at BVB, but I would never like go and flaunt it. Like I can understand why. Like I'll come to it later, but I think there's a particular type of student that kind of has fun at Bhavans. Like I think they mold their students in a particular way, but I don't think it's like proud to be flaunting it all. Like it's
This is like the PSBB, PS seniorization
sort of
of a
yeah,
school.
PSBBN,
Uh,
PSBBN is
yeah.
BBIN. Yeah, that used
You,
to
yeah.
be a
you,
group on
you,
Orkut, I think.
Orkut. Okay.
So
I don't
never
even know if
know.
that
You
guy is
might
still
find it on
alive.
people's LinkedIn bios. Nowadays, people's LinkedIn bios are all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So
Most obnoxious
PSBBN,
people were
Power
from those
Night,
two schools.
all the things. Preyamalatayan will not probably be there, but
Pushpalata,
others.
Pushpalata.
Oh,
Who's Premalata? Why is Premalata here? 6th to 10th standard, which Premalata is this? Max, you only have to tell me. It's a very
I
Telugu
think
name. Premalata is a very, very Telugu name. So there is no escaping the fact that you were in Hyderabad
oh,
with
I think
Premalata of some sort. Huh?
Yam School no was a very posh school in Coimbatore, and they used to call themselves Stenites. Okay, that's how they used to call themselves.
10 sir.
Stay nights.
Stenites.
10
So
Oh.
the
Our
Bhavanite
school was like
actually
180.
came from that.
No, yeah, but the
Oh, so
whole
now
point
these
is
things are slowly coming. Once I've unraveled that there's a team called Bhavnet, now Stenite, all these
Ah,
things are coming out.
I'm
but the
telling you
fact
that
is
Bhavanite term came from Stenite only, at least as far as I'm aware. Like no one before that was calling
I
themselves
randomly saw it
Bhavanite.
on LinkedIn. I was kind of scarred.
there is a
I had
reason
Ah,
to
why
read
it's
it like
called
three, four
Stenite.
times.
There is a reason why it's
so
called
the
Stenite because they used to call themselves that for like 180 years or something. So it was not something which was invented when I went to school. We used to have these things called past versus present panel. I don't know if I mentioned it before, where the past students would play against the present students, okay? And they would be father and son. The past student would be the father and the son would be in the present. And both of them would go hammer and tongs at each other, like full, no holds barred. And
Like
some
playing
of the
what?
teachers, all games, all sports. We used to have a sports day, 3 day sports day for all sports. And in the good old days of the 1960s, we actually used to have boxing in our school. Narayan Karthikeyan is from our school. We had like,
Flexing. Now the flexing has started,
it's
right?
not the
yeah, like
flexing. The whole reason
Yam
why the
school is
Stenite thing,
actually
the
Now you're
whole
getting
reason
Yam
the
back for
school.
Stenite thing
this is
came.
your way of getting back for her MS Subbulakshmi thing. Narayan
Yeah,
No,
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 Karthikeyan.
no.
no,
Fastest
no,
Indian
no.
is from my school.
Like our school was known for sports. It was actually known for sports.
No
Yeah, Adrian was from
reasons.
school. Yeah, he was actually my uh, house, what did they call it? Captain. Yeah.
Yeah, one-time hockey champion of India. So, in essence, Yam School is like the Doon School of Coimbatore.
But we have two schools. We have one in Kunur and one in Coimbatore, and there's a rivalry between us.
See, Doons, like,
I don't know. I don't know how Dunes is. I
So
really don't know
you're
how
so
Dunes
this
is.
is like the Jojita Vaisikandar
type.
modern school.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Funnily enough, that guy actually lives in Kunur, near Staines Kunur. I went and stayed in his cheese farm once. The guy who directed that movie, Jojita Vaisikandar, or
Mansur Khan.
QS30,
Mansoor
one
Ali
of the
Khan.
two. Yeah, Mansur Ali
Mansur
Khan.
Khan.
Mansur Khan.
Mansoor Khan,
So
yeah.
he lives in Kunur, and he
Yeah,
runs
it
a
was
cheese
shot also
farm.
there only. It was shot somewhere there only.
I have no idea. I actually randomly stayed with him, and he was like, "Oh, do you know I'm Amir Khan's uncle?" I was like, "What are you doing here?" That was the first thing I asked. Like, did he have a fight with Amir Khan? Anyway, different story.
But okay, coming back to schools now, we've kind of started to get into like in memories. I went to a co-ed school, predominant co-ed school. Max, what about you? I know
Oh
Bhavan's
yeah,
was
I
co-ed,
forgot those things. Also.
Yeah,
but
I've always
did you
been
ever?
through and through.
Oh, you've always been in a co-ed school? Okay.
Except
Yeah.
for +2, which was on paper a co-ed thing, but it was the it was it made JPR sound like a very docile concept. The
You had fines,
so like boys were in the third floor, girls were in the second floor.
and the twain
Uh,
shall never meet.
you could not even take the stair unless the stair was cleared. Like there would be a guy near the stair, and he would give you the all clear that you can even come down. Um, because the staff rooms and the principal's rooms were on the first floor, right? So if you ever had to go to the first floor, you had to cross the second floor, and because the second floor is the girls' floor, heaven forbid you see someone, right? Like it's catastrophic for the entire institution. So there would be a guy on the stair, and you had to ask him, is it clear to go? And he would either tell
But
you
the
yes
guy
or
was
no.
allowed to see the girls in the third
Yeah,
floor.
yeah. These are the staff, no? They created an
I
employment for
always
one
found
guy
it
to
very
just be on the
creepy.
stair.
I
They
always found it
created
very
employment.
creepy.
One
Huh?
guy just could be on the stair and just to tell you, okay, any girls there, you say, okay, please go away. There's a guy who wants to go down.
But Max, think of it normally, right? Can you imagine in JPR or any of these other weird institutions, there is actually a middle-aged man who's been employed to make sure that young 20-something girls are cleared from that area.
20 something, teen, machan. This is all
Fine, yours is
16,
teen.
16,
I'm saying
No,
17.
but
JPR is
I
20.
I have a
Like,
question to
their
ask.
entire
Okay.
job is to make sure that those 16, 17-year-old girls are all left the building. I mean,
No, no.
seriously, whoever came up with that.
I have a question to you, Max, and I ask you because you know how Bhavan's was now. Like
Yeah.
we had
Wait,
a
wait.
one
I
boy,
have no
one
idea
girl.
how Bhavans was. What is the Bhavans?
So
What is
so
this?
in a lot of schools, even if it was co-ed, right, the genders would sit apart. So the girls would sit in one section of the class, the boys would sit in one section of the class. In Bhavan's, up until class 10, because we had equal gender number, one boy, one girl was the system.
Okay.
So that'd be a boy, a girl sitting next to a boy, and a boy.
Okay.
And other schools apparently didn't have it.
Yeah,
So
we didn't have that compulsion. You could sit if you wanted to, but the
yeah,
teachers made
but
it weird
for
after a
us
point.
it had to be mandatorily one boy, one girl until class 10. And then class 11, the genders, like I was in computer group. So the genders reverse where you'll have a lot of girls in the biology group and very little boys.
I
So on
never
the end, the
understood that. But
girls all
anyway,
sit together, the boys all sit together. And then computer science was the reverse. And then even then, if you wanted to, you could sit. But at that age, the teachers would be like, huh, you better not. Like, why are you sitting next to that guy and all that?
male teachers. That is my observation. The
No,
male
no,
teachers
no.
were the creeps.
I had a fun male teacher. I wouldn't say that. My class teacher was a male. He was like the
For the
chillest
boys, the
guy.
male teachers were the creeps because we knew what they were trying to do most of the time.
No, he was still. He'll be like, if you don't want to participate in all this column competition, he'll not tell the girls. And then the
That's
morning,
a
the
column
next class.
Okay. Okay. That
Yeah, we had all
just
that
blew my
stuff,
mind.
and he'll not bother. He'll be like, why? So morning, like, the other teacher will come, girls, you are not doing column. We're like, hey, something is happening. She'll be like, oh, your class teacher didn't tell you. We're like, yeah, he did. But coming back to my question,
Yeah.
I don't understand what would go wrong just by a boy and girl seeing each other, because I'm pretty sure that outside that world,
So
When you went to
That
tuition
that's
classes and
why
all, you interacted, right?
no, that's why it like right, for coming from there to going to this junior college thing, it was that big a shock for me, because for us how it was yeah, there was no compulsion that you have to sit. You could sit however you wanted to sit. Okay. Now in sixth and seventh and all that, sitting next to a girl would be actually like a punishment, because if you are like creating a lot of ruckus in class and you guys are like in the back bench and you're making aeroplanes and playing pen games in class and all that, then they would forcibly make you sit next to a girl. Like, that would actually be a way to punish you in 6 and 7
Okay.
and all that. In 9 and 10 it was the reverse. He had to separate you.
You become buddies.
uh, More than that in some cases, but let's not go there.
Let's not go there. I mean, because of that age. That's why I stopped at buddies.
Yeah. Right. So then they had to kind of separate you. But yeah, it was never a compulsion, but it was completely like, okay, you do, however you want. You're like, they would treat you like, okay, you're fine. And that is why it was such a huge shock for me that when you went to plus two, there is an entire separate floor and there's a system to even descend the stairs or ascend the stairs. The same thing. Like school for them would start like 10 minutes before us. So, the second floor is fully
Occupied.
situated. Everyone is situated in their classes, and only then we're allowed to go to the third floor. And then
Right?
dismissal also would be like 15 minutes early before them. So they have vacated the second floor, and then we would come down and all. It was a hilarious thing.
So what happened when you met outside the building? Because I know Chaitanya was like a building. I don't think it was a big camp.
Yeah, you could. That's the irony of it, right? That is the irony
You
of
don't
the
care
entire
what
thing.
you do as long as you don't do it there.
Once you have exited the premises, then they're like, okay, we have taken care of your wards as long as they were in our premises and ensured that no hanky panky has happened, and they were all always in their focus was on within their textbooks. Their heads were within the textbooks, literally, like, or they would force your head within the textbook. But yeah, it was a shock for me. That's why, that going from this
I had
to that.
I
uh,
had
But
a
how did your friends adjust to college then? Like, I'm always curious. I've always felt that I was more adjusted to college because by that time you're 17, 18, you learn to handle interactions with the opposite gender
But
in
that's
a
what it was,
very,
just a 2 year irony in between, because so school
no,
was
no, for
fine and then
you,
college was fine and then
no, no, for you, but I'm just saying, like, people who, like, a lot of strict parents put their kids into schools like this, like, oh, no interactions with the opposite gender. What I find, and that's why I asked if all of us went to a co-ed school, is because I find that people who've been to the same gender school, they're not able to judge the interaction with a person from the opposing gender, because it may not always be an overture of interest. It could be an overture of friendship. It could just be a simple conversation. I think that a lot of people faced challenges navigating that, especially people who came to the background where they'd be like, oh, ஒரு பொண்ணு பையன் கிட்ட பேசினாலே something's off, or she's name calling and
so
all.
Hyderabad actually, not arts, but even had some undergrad colleges that were minor segregation
Oh,
based,
wow.
wherein you couldn't sit, you have to sit on, there was two sides of the classroom, and the teacher could walk to the center of the classroom, right? So girls would always be on,
have you guys seen Nammavar?
boys would be on one side. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That
So there was
Gautami
undergrad
character was
college.
literally how everywhere I went after my school, every teacher was that Gautami character. Boys and girls should be separate. How dare you sit next to each other? What is the reason? Why do you need to talk to them? I'm like, what? What do you mean? Why do I need to talk to them? It's a question.
So no, but again, school was good, prepared me for it. But like I said, right, in 6 and 7, it was actually more a punishment, because we were like, we deserved it, I would say, because during class we would be sitting and playing hangman or pen game or this. So pen game was too noisy. Okay, so before that, okay, so pen game is this game wherein you have a desk, you
No,
have two
you
pens,
told me what it is.
right? And then you are fighting with these pens. So you can only use one finger. You can either your thumb or whatever, one finger you can use
Like
to
a
hit,
carom.
like a carom kind of thing. So you cannot like just hit your pen letter. You have to use a finger. And whichever pen stands on the table, that person wins the thing. Now that became too noisy during when class was going on. right? So then we had to now come up with more
Silent
silent
games.
games. So Hangman was too posh. Like, you had to know a lot of movie names or this, that, and all that. It became too posh. Hangman was more a game you would play with a girl to kind of show off your cramming
Knowledge.
in your knowledge. Like, I know all these English movies or whatever, whatever.
You're cool.
Yeah, how cool you were. So then now we had to find a game for us. So we found this game called Label Game, wherein, because this is, again, the concept of these games, and they're so wonderful, is it has to be easily accessible to everyone. So we would go to a stationery store and buy labels. Okay, the labels that you stick on a thing with your name and all that.
Notebooks.
Notebook. So you put label upon label and flip them in the air. And whoever label falls face first, that guy gets to keep the other label. So that was our game. So now again, labels are pretty inexpensive, right? So you don't mind losing your label and all that. It's not like it's a very expensive thing that that. So that was the game you would play. So label, flip them in the air, and it'll slowly kind of fall down, and then you can keep the label. Then you would have stacks and stacks of labels that you have collected through the day.
What is
You know,
your earliest school memory, guys?
before
I'll tell
that
you
label
mine.
game, before that, I have to talk about this game. How come no one has ever played book cricket?
Yeah,
That
obviously
and all
play
is
book
like
cricket.
That
That is
book
book cricket.
cricket
My
is
father also has played, man.
that is
I
what I'm saying. That is the
I was trying to,
OG class
I
game.
was trying to tell you things that we have created. Like,
Created.
who
Okay.
created this
See, that
game?
was not clear. Okay. So created games, I'm
Label
sure
game we have created, because see,
label
so
game maybe, yeah,
trump
probably.
cards again were expensive. Like, if you had to do trump cards, whether it was cricket cards or WWE cards or even
Big
car
cards.
based, any card, it was expensive because you had to go buy a pack of cards from a store, and then you could do that, but it was not everyone had it. Labels were super cheap. For like 10 rupees, you would get a stack of labels, and then you can just keep flipping them in the air. And it would be nice, because the class is going on and you're flipping it in the air, and it's like slowly, like. But
okay.
cards, trump cards, and book cricket was always thing.
Reigning
Yes.
top, always on top.
Yeah,
Okay, but
trump cards, book cricket were the top two, but I was thinking pen fight is definitely there in the third one.
Pen fight had
Label
to become a lunch-based, recess and lunch-based thing because
best
it was
thing.
so.
Yeah, I'll talk from an opposing gender viewpoint also when it comes to games and all on a section. But I want to come back to it because we've gone far ahead. What is your earliest school memory that you remember? That you can in Niku you can
You go first.
remember?
I need to think.
I have two. Okay, the one thing is Bhavan had an old building, okay, in the beginning, and then they had a new building. And the building, there used to be a Saruku Moram and rocking horse and all that, like a couple of toys for kids to play around, right? LKG, UKG kids. So what I used to do was in the Saruku Marathla, I used to climb up. When you climb up, you can access the Nelika. So climb up,
Oh,
catch the Nelika, and we had pinafores then. So you had pockets. So stuff your pockets with the Nelika and then come down the slide. So that I remember. The other thing I remember is I still have the scar. So I was on a rocking horse. And then what actually happened was I wanted to go faster. And then a classmate of mine, I can't remember who, convinced me to do it standing up on the rocking horse. So I tried doing that. I fell face down. And I still have a scar from that because it just cracked open here. So those are my very fond school memories, like my earliest memories. I can still remember how it runs in my the flashback to Solvanga. It can run in front of my eyes.
Mine was from first grade. This is in Bombay. So they was doing this annual day kind of a thing. I don't know if it's annual day kind of something, but something like that, wherein they booked this auditorium. It's not a school auditorium. They booked like a private auditorium outside the city, in the city, and all of that. And they were doing a bunch of plays and this thing. Every class was doing, not every class, like primary was doing something, middle school was doing something, secondary was doing. They had broken them like that, and they were doing. So our thing was we were chosen to do Nutcracker Suite. Okay, the classic thing and all that. And so they had given names, and no, first grade, no, we're not giving names. They'll only come and say, okay, you come. So the people have gotten selected and all that. And then no one has selected me for anything. And then this other teacher comes, no, Mayur, we need you, and she's taken me. She's taken me and taken me there. And then this person who's in charge of training us, because people they were doing, they had some people who were doing somersaults because they were part of the. Again, I don't exactly remember how the tracker suite, but it's like there is a. It's like almost like a circus kind of a thing, right? There are different people and all that. So some guys were doing somersault, some guys were doing some other things and all that. So this cartwheels and all that. So this teacher said, "Oh, okay, go, come, do a cartwheel." I do. It's horrible. He's like, okay, do a somersault. She asked me to do a somersault. It doesn't work. And then she turns to me, she says, "Why did you bring him? He's not good at any of these things."
Aw.
She's like, "No, I brought him for a different reason." And so then, and I am also like, I first grade, like I am like feeling very bad because some of my friends are doing the Russian Cossack, right? They are the Russian Cossacks. They're doing these cartwheels. There's some guys who are these Chinese gymnasts, and that's what they're doing somersaults. I am neither in, and some of the girls are in the ballerina thing. They're doing that. I'm in nothing. And then finally, they say, okay, you are the narrator. Chan, like, Chan, stupid nonsense. At least I could have been a tree, man. Some people at least are being a tree in the thing. I'm not even a tree. Some narrator they have made me. And to this date, I cannot forget that because I was made the narrator. I like so small. I know my dad took me, bought me like a chota suit and all that. And I am talking in this giant auditorium. I can't see anything. And then I am there with a small mic and I'm, announcing all the things and all that. It was like crazy. But since that day, like, I've never been scared of going on stage or anything. And then the teacher comes and tells my mom, so well he did, I knew he'd be perfect for this. And so on that date, I have never been scared of the stage, right? Mic in hand, without hand, it has been a thing. And I didn't realize it until that day off because even like whatever things, it was almost like just saying poetry or like they just give me a thing I had to memorize and talk and all that. I've never done it with them, right? So I never knew what it meant. These guys are all doing something. Some guys are holding some tree prop. One guy is like a squirrel. One guy is something. I like they're getting all those things. I'm getting nothing. They just giving me, telling me and asking me to
But
say.
you were the star of the show, na?
Yeah, I didn't know that, right? Until like the day off. And my mom didn't tell me. Maybe they told my parents also, don't tell him and all that because he may get scared or something. So my mom has not told me. She's just asking me, do you know all the words? I know all the words. And so in front of my mom and dad, I've said those words and all that. So they take me. And then, I still cannot believe how that has happened. But since then, that day, till this date, my stage never has been a problem for me. So that is one of my most, craziest memories. And I may not have memories after that for a long time until, like seventh and all that. But for those that 10-year decade, the entire decade, that is my greatest memory.
Wow. I
That's a good
have a
story.
different greatest memory, but I'll come to that later. I have a very, very okay, so I was also like you when I was in school, okay? No fear, nothing. I used to go take part in essay writing, in like elocution is what they used to call it then, right? Elocution, debating, anything I'll go. Like if you don't ask me to study, I'm basically happy.
On duty.
Don't, yeah, don't study, don't sit in class, go take part, I'll take part. And then I was also very bullied, like starting class 6. Okay, so not a lot of fond memories sitting in class anyway because I was like the odd one out. So I loved going to the competitions because free May, I'm having a good time also. I'm winning prizes also and whatnot. I think in class 9 they had this all India radio thing going, so they asked who wants to come. So I said I'll go. And G.K. Sundaram, the industrialist, was a patron of our school. So I didn't know. The first day we went, we'd done our program and all, and the director of the studio actually asked me to stay back. And he said he picked 2 or 3 students, and he said, "Hey, we would like you to actually interview someone that's coming into the studio, and the person that's coming is GKS."
Abdul Kalam, huh? Don't say
No,
this.
no, GK Sundaram,
I
not
was half
Abdul
expecting
Kalam.
that.
I
I was
know.
half expecting
So,
that.
so I come in, I interview him and all, and then he asks me, "Which school are you from?" I said, "Bharati Vidya Bhavan." And I didn't ask any clever question. I just asked him why he was doing what he was doing and all that stuff. And then 2 days later, I get a call. Like, this is public exam years, okay? By the time all this happened, it was class 10. Public exam kela prep panniterko. Then one day, the AIR director calls and he says, "Can you come to Sungam Lada, that radio station office used to be." So he's like, "Can you come? You just need to come for like 20-30 minutes, but you need to come. I have something for you." So I went, and that was a Tata Sonata watch. And back in those days, Sonata watch was a big deal. And
Mm.
then
They're
behind
like
the
a
watch,
gold kind of a thing and all, right?
yeah, and behind the watch, it was inscribed from GKS Abdina. So he just left a watch for
Oh,
me.
nice.
And that was, I was going through a really torrid time then, and that acknowledgement felt really nice. And that was, I think, why at some point in time I wanted to work for like radio, like I want to do mass comm and like do the Sharda Ugra thing. That's where it's all coming from. But when you
You have the
mentioned,
haircut at least.
Yeah,
I do,
exactly.
right? I do. Inspired.
Inspired.
You're hearing it on this spot right now. But when you mentioned your memory, right? Like I could relate to it because um during that time it gave me a lot of courage. It was like, okay, if all these people you go to school with don't recognize you, it's fine. You still like have skills. You can like, you're good. You don't need validation from anyone else, kind of thing.
However, I have to name drop Abdul Kalam, okay? I have
You can.
I have met Abdul Kalam. I've shaken hands with Abdul Kalam. Uh,
Ooh.
this was in 10th, I think. Yeah, in ninth, no, not 10th, ninth. They don't let you do things in 10th. It was the ninth. There was this Indian Science Congress that happens every year, even this year. And that year, he was, so the president presides over day one of the Indian Science Congress and all that. I don't know if they do it now or not, but what they would do is they would also run something called a National Children's Science Congress. Wherein, like every school, has to do some science project and present it. There's like a district level, state level,
And whoever wins gets to go there, right?
district level, state level, national level, and then the ones who are at the national level, they get to present at the Indian Science Congress. So that's what happened, and ours was at the national level, and then we got to present at the Indian Science Congress. And that year, the Indian Science Congress was in Hyderabad, in the Osman University. So then, that was kind of cool because, so Abdul Kalam was there. The then Prime Minister, I.K. Gujral, was there. I don't remember who the governor was because
You're dating yourself
I'm
with
meeting
this.
I'm meeting the president of India, right? So, but no,
Gujral and Abdul Kalam didn't cross.
Yeah, they didn't cross.
oh, maybe he was not a president then. He was, but
No,
he was
he was
Abdul Kalam.
he
He was
was
not
the
president then.
he was
Yeah,
He
ISRO head
was
chief or something.
yeah,
he
he
was
was.
DRDO,
ISRO chief.
ISRO
Yeah,
chief or DRDO? I don't remember which one. One of the two.
but yeah, Gujral was the prime minister. That I remember. Abdul Kalam was there.
Yeah.
And, he came, spoke to us, said, oh, this is a very nice project you're doing, blah, 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 and all his speech and all he had given. And that was pretty cool, actually. But yeah, later only during the Vajpayee term is when he became the president, right? Yeah. So this was
President, yeah.
Gujarat. So this was before that. So that was it. And the other one was this show called Bonvita
Wonder
Quiz
Balloon.
Contest.
BQC.
Oh, you were in BQC? You were in
Yeah.
BQC?
But we didn't win. We reached like two rounds or three rounds, and then we lost. To
You
this
didn't come
date,
on TV then.
no, we were on TV, but like we only finished
Okay.
two. Yeah, I was only on two episodes. And to this date, I remember I can't forget the question where we screwed up because we lost by 10 points or something like that. There was that one question which I screwed up. So till this day, I can't forget that answer.
What is the question though?
He was like, which is the music instrument that can produce the loudest note or the sharpest note or something like that?
Guitar.
And then I said harp because I always, associate harp with all these opera kind of singing, right? They'll have a harp. So that's how I said. And then he said wrong. And then we got it later again on second attempt, but then it was fewer points. Right? If you get it at the first attempt, it is X number of points.
20 points and then 10. I remember.
Yeah, and so then he gave a hint. He's saying Albert Einstein was the thing. And then I said, okay, violin. But so we only got like half the points and not the full points. And so we lost by that differential. Till today, because we had won, we would have gone to the semifinals. So till this date, it kind of hurts me. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
what
hurt, as in, like, I remember that answer very well. I don't remember any of the
you
other
will
answers
not
in the show.
forget it. You'll not
Yeah,
forget it.
that one answer, any of the answers in the show, I don't remember. Like, but that one answer in that quarterfinal, I still remember.
Yeah, what is your fondest memory or
Well,
craziest
earliest
memory?
memory first. Let's go with that. Earliest memory was funny enough. All three of us are stage fiends. We love the stage, so no surprises that I loved it too. For me, the earliest memory was my first play, which I did in school. So it was a school play during. I was probably like LKG, UKG, or first standard or something like that. But the play was I was a playboy, and I had five women fighting over me. And there's this fantastic photograph of all five women
What
trying to woo me.
age is this
First
in?
standard, first standard or UKG. Okay, so I had no idea what I was doing, but I
This
was
is in the
enjoying it.
Pushpalata school.
Yeah,
This was
I remember it very
Pushpalata school.
clearly.
What
Yeah,
choice of
I have no idea what the name of the play is, nothing. I just remember being on stage and these five girls next to me. Like, I have to argue why, one is better than the other or something. It was a really funny one. So I had
what
that.
more can you expect from a school like that?
I know, right? It was amazing.
That is the school's name.
OG, really OG.
Putting
Like,
kids and asking kids to be playboys and Casanovas when
yeah.
they're 6 years
Actually, I
old.
think that is the name of I think that was the name of the play, Casanova.
What?
It was about Casanova.
How can this be greenlit? Well, who is the principal?
Teacher who decided that Casanova would be appropriate to like
Why did they think I was
encourage.
the one to play it? There are so many questions which are unanswered, but that is like a earliest memory. Uh, Fondest memory for me was so like Bundi and probably Max, you also. I used to be like very good at most of the extracurricular activities. So other than singing, I couldn't do that, but I used to typically win most of the other stuff, acting, elocution, and all of that. But the always the thing was that I would be given a script or I would be given a written thing to go and orate. So I was good at orating, but it was never my original thought. The first time I actually had that was in 11th grade, and there was this district level debating competition. And like Bundi, the only reason I even participated was because I could skip one of the what do they call this practice exams you used to have in 11th, right? Like the two practice exams before your 11th exam type of thing. So I could skip one of the exams, probably some weird subject, probably chemistry or physics or something. So I was like, okay, good. I don't have to write that exam. I'll go do that thing. But the condition was you have to go there and represent the school. And this was in Tamil Nadu Agriculture University. And I had you were in that?
I think I came to the prelims. Yeah, I think I was there. I
Oh,
remember.
I
small
won
world.
it. I won the
Yeah, I
finals. So that was the one
wow.
where they had to debate about the effects of what is that? Biological weapons or something like that. It was
Yeah,
like one of those
exactly.
that one, right? So I won that.
Weird topics. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was the first time I actually did research because I was like, okay, I'm in 11th grade. I can't really go and ask my dad, even though he would probably write it and give it to
Help
me in
you.
15 minutes. I was like, look, I have to figure this out myself. So I used the internet, like the dial-up modem and all of that stuff. And you had to do it after like 11 p.m. Otherwise, it would cost you double. It'll
It
cost you
will
double.
cost 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. BSNL was free. Okay, no
Exactly.
bandwidth.
So 11 p.m. I started doing the research, and on top of that, you would get faster internet, which at that time meant instead of the web page taking like 15 minutes or something to load, it will load in 5
One,
minutes,
yeah.
one or two, well, one, two, whatever it was. And that too was the first time Google came out. So you had this new thing because earlier we used to use Netscape Navigator search and search bar and all of that. I never used Ask Jeeves, but Netscape Navigator was always there. But after that, you had Google. So, new search engine,
You
keep
guys are
trying it.
also dating yourself, by the way. Okay.
That's
Talking about
okay.
We are all
Netscape
dating
Navigator.
We're
ourselves.
all 90s kids. Yeah. There's nothing we can do beyond this. And yeah, so basically that debate, I won, and that time the school, kind of did like a big thing in the assembly and all of that stuff. But that was the first time I actually felt I deserved it because I did the full thing. I just didn't go and spit out thoughts, which I was very good at because I could act as if it was my own thoughts. But that was the first time I actually gave out my thoughts and gave out your analysis of why this is dangerous and stuff like that. But that was a very weird topic. I have never seen a debate like that
I
topic.
I remember the competition. I think I didn't make it beyond, like, I made it to 2 rounds. I think there were multiple rounds, if you remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
full day you had to be in TNAU.
Full day
And I
you had
remember
to
they had a
be in.
mushroom farm there. So I used to go to the mushroom farm where they grew button mushrooms. It was my favorite thing to eat, like Kalan, right? We are all Coimbatore people. So I was like, damn, this is where this thing comes from.
So yeah, I remember whole day competition, and you had multiple rounds, and each round you have like different topics, all science related. I think
All
I
science
lost out
related.
all science related. So I think
Yeah.
I lost out in one of those. Like, I think I don't know what it was, but it was a weird topic. It was about, I think, something about reproduction or something, and I had my
Oh,
own
yeah, that
views.
was
So
also there. Yeah, there were like 3, 4 topics were there. The
uh,
craziest thing was,
assist,
huh?
assistive reproduction was a topic. Angada,
Yeah,
I said, why should people have their own kids? I said
yeah.
it makes sense if you invest your money in like finding out other things like genetic disorders. Like, I remember that because I think popular opinion was not siding with me, so they said, hey, done. Thank you very much for coming
But the weirdest
up
thing is,
until.
I don't know if you have it, Bundi, because I went solo, right? I didn't tell my parents. I told my parents, but they didn't come with me or something. So that is the only competition I won where there's no photo of me at all.
Winning.
Like of winning, of participating, doing anything there. My photograph
Dude,
is
that
in the school.
no, but they had a huge number of people come in, yeah, for that. My
What?
school for that competition. நிறைய
I
பேர்
know, but my
வந்திருந்தாங்க.
school we had like 3, 4 people, but none of us were like, oh,
Uh,
take your camera and go.
no, I came directly from school. My school was like RS Puram, right? Angarindi
Uh,
Kavali Brown Road is like, so we took
so
a
this
school bus in.
TNAU, the funny thing is, the reason I actually wanted to go to TNAU was a different reason. I didn't want to go for the competition. I actually wanted to go to the place because, first of all, I didn't realize Tamil Nadu Agriculture University was in Coimbatore. And I lived in Coimbatore for so long and I didn't realize it because it was after the last point that I would go to. Sai Baba Colony was the end of Coimbatore for me, and you had to cross that spot to go to Agriculture University.
Posh.
The second reason was that was where if you've seen Roja, the guy who is the terrorist in the movie, right? Who is,
Mohan Kapoor.
no,
Pankaj
that,
Kapoor says
No,
he
Pankaj
went
Kapoor.
to.
Pankaj
He
Kapoor
says he
studied in
went to
Tamil Nadu Agriculture
Tamil Nadu.
University.
Oh, that's how he knows
Pavi.
Tamil in the movie. Okay.
That's how he knows Tamil in the movie. So I was like, where is this thing? Where is this thing? I've been breaking my head since then. I was like, oh, this is the university. Let me go see it. So,
Okay.
Hey, so did you have like houses in
yeah,
school?
yeah.
So this is a very British concept, right? So now my
180
daughter,
years old school.
yeah, no, my daughter is reading Harry Potter, right? So
Hmm.
and then they have this whole system of houses, Gryffindor, Slytherin, and she's like, "What is a house?" And and that's when I realized, like, for us, because we also had houses, so it is a very natural thing when we like, oh yeah, okay, they also have houses, Slytherin and Gryffindor and all that. We also have houses. I'm having a hard time explaining to her the concept of a house and why there is pride, in a particular house winning and so on and so forth.
So this
So,
past versus present matches I was talking about, right?
what houses did you guys have?
We had, I think, Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati or something. Something they created, okay? But it never stuck because most people were all like padipists, right? So they never used to participate in all this extracurricular and all that. There always used to be a set of people participating in extracurricular activities. So we sort of did have a house system, but then it never like took roots.
Oh, wow, okay.
Like we used
We
to
had
like every 2 years randomly they will say, hey, you're in house Ganga, you're in house Yamuna, you're in house Saraswati.
Okay.
you can switch.
They'll swap.
Yeah.
It was not like you're assigned to it and you stick with it all the time. La. So chumma every 2 years someone will start it. There is
Then
no
it kind of
there is no house badge or anything of that sort. There is no competition. So it never like
there was some
stuck.
competition.
There's no competition also. House competitions கிடையாது.
Which school were you in, man? What is this? Pushpalata
The
school is better
same.
than your school.
Yeah, seriously.
You're,
We
you're
had
cursing
like
your own alma mater, okay? You're spoiling
Alba. Excuse me. At this point, I think at this point, Max is thinking of your school more like an alpha mater than an alma mater.
Okay, no, okay. Before we, yeah, what houses did you have? And please tell me at least there was some amount of rivalry and
Oh
all that.
yeah. We had like severe rivalry. We had four houses. We had tigers, panthers, lions, and wolves.
Animals, okay.
Yeah, and we had our own house colors and all of that. And we had we had four divisions. No, three divisions. We had sub junior, junior, and senior. Three divisions. So you only started in your house from fifth grade onwards. And
Yeah.
fifth and sixth, and I think fifth, sixth, seventh, you were in. I think under 13s. Under 13s, you were in sub junior. 13 to I think 15 or something, you were in junior, and then 11th and 12th typically you were senior. But you could go up level if you were really good and all of that stuff. And on top of that, we used to have these past versus present matches, I told you, right? Those would be played at the house level as well. And then whichever house won would carry the points from there into the yearly championship. At the end of the year, we would be awarded the house cup, and that it was a rolling trophy.
Yeah.
So
See, now,
eh, eh,
now I have respect for this thing. Yes, this is how it's supposed to be. It's like,
yeah, and it was
that is why when I
really
first,
crazy rivalry, huh?
yeah, so
You would
that's why
have
this
best
whole
friends
Harry
in two
Potter
different
thing,
houses.
yeah, the Harry Potter thing is very makes a lot of sense to me because for us that's how it was. So
Yeah.
1 to 5. So ours was a full Mahabharata thing, right? So 1 to 5 were all called Prahlada house. They're all part of just one house. There is no rivalry and all that. But from sixth onwards, you get assigned. When you come to sixth, like well, that's the first day is like you get assigned a house. And
And
the
you go check the
houses.
register which house you're in.
No, they'll come and tell you and all that. So
They'll
you,
Oh, okay.
announce.
it's almost like a sorting thing. So you all go and then they say, okay, you come here, you go to this house, you go to this house. It's like
Yeah.
there's no sorting hat, there's a sorting teacher, and the sorting teacher, would assign you to houses and all of that. So it was Vashishta, Karna, and one more, I can't remember now. But they were like that. And so I think there was one more, I just cannot remember what Vashishta,
Road.
Karna, Drona. Yes, Drona house, right? So these were all the houses, and you're assigned on day 1, the day you enter sixth grade. That first day is the house assignment, and you stick with that until you leave the school. So then we had rivalries, and then we would have these different events throughout the year, right? And then whenever a student from a particular house wins that, they get that many points
Points.
gets assigned to the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
And then there's a house cup, there's a house turn, there's a house trophy and all that is given, and so on and so forth. So it used to be super super fierce, right? So like just like you, like you had two groups, like 5, 6, 6, 7, 8 is one group, 9, 10, 11, 12 used to be another group, and then afterwards they removed 10 and 11 and 12, so it only became 9 and 10. And it used to be so fierce, the competition, and like yeah, there were kids who in that at 8th who were good enough they could go and compete with the 9th and 10th guys, because 8th was in that middle kind of a thing. So that's how it used to be. And so me and this buddy of mine, we have won the debate competition for 5 consecutive years. For 5 consecutive years, we have won. So 6 and 7, our parents would help us with the debate, and okay, this is the topic. Plus, go to the library, get something. Here, this is the magazine. Here, look at this newspaper and all that. 9 and 10, we were like, okay, hat trick. Already hat trick has finished. So 9 and 10, we were like ultimate rowdy. Like, okay, we are not even going to prepare.
I've done that.
We are not even going to prepare for this debate. We will just go, because previous day evening you get this thing that you have that evening, because next day afternoon is the thing. We're not even going to prepare. We just went, and because we were, and every house had to send 2 teams. So we would send the first team in, and ours would be in the second rotation, right? So that means 5 have gone through. So the earliest you are going to be is 6th, and the latest you are going to be is 12th, right? So we were like, okay, we're not going to go and prepare. So let them all say what they want to say. We're just going to sit and listen, and then
And then we put the points.
Then we'll come and tell. You will come and tell.
Oh, I used to prep,
How
man, but
it became no, in year 10 it became such a big thing because Karna and Aros was pretty close, and then that debate competition would kind of decide which is the thing. Like, they are cheating, they have not prepared anything, and all bulky they all came and started fighting, and there's a huge uproar, and in the hall there was happening, right? They were all saying, they were all booing us. Then our guys start booing and shouting and fighting and all of that. And oh man, it was like one crazy thing. So, yeah. So that I find a lot of now as I'm explaining, all these houses and Gryffindor and all to my daughter, all those memories start coming back to me because it was a huge thing for us. And even now, like some of those friends, we're in touch with, and we'll still, say, hey, you might be good, but you're still not as good as being debate, right? Things like that. But
oh, I I
that was a
loved
thing.
I loved debates, but then I didn't do this in school, but I loved jams and shipwrecks more. They
Oh
were
yeah.
like fun. Like I was like, hey, sign me whatever college we had houses. So I used to be like, okay, if it's jam or like if it's shipwreck, I'm going in. I did debate, I did Pattimandaram and also I can get that confidence you come in. Like once you won, right? That's the confidence you have, and the other people actually come in with sort of they become guarded against you because they are always like thinking that you're going to attack them. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fun, like almost like toying with them.
No, in year 10, right? In 10th grade, because I don't know, it's some FOMO based thing or because this is the last year and all that. I have registered for every competition, every house competition that is
I
there.
did that. I
Every
did that.
single one, including flower arrangement.
I didn't even have that kind of an opportunity,
Include
man. That was
flower
fun.
arrangement.
Oh, 10th
So,
I
so
did.
ours was a very secular one kind of school. So we would have uh, this prayer chanting competition, wherein you have three. You can do Gita chanting, you can do Bible chanting, you can do Quran chanting. Right? They have their own sub competitions and all that. So we had very good kids in the Gita chanting competition. I have gone for Bible chanting competition. I have gone to the one church.
Wait, you have
They,
to memorize it, huh?
yeah,
You have to.
What did you memorize?
They'll
one
say Luke
verse.
12.
Yeah,
What
Oh,
one
they'll
okay.
say
verse.
they'll say Matthew 4 or Luke 12, and you have to like recite it from memory.
Not no, but you can
You
you
can
can tell
prepare
which
and go.
you
Ah,
can prepare. You can tell this is the verse I'm going to do, and you can tell that verse. So same thing,
okay.
Gita, you can tell okay, chapter 18, and you can go and say chapter 17. It'll be
The
decided. Same
only
thing.
time I was interested in learning that was when Austin 316. So that's a difference.
No, so I have gone along with this Christian friend of mine to a church and asked the thing saying, okay, where this competition is there, I need something that is easy. I need something that is easy and at least, this many lines so that I can, and that father or pastor, whoever the caretaker is, has helped me and has given me a verse. Even to the Psalms 34 or 32 or something it is called. Um, and the Lord's my shepherd, I not
Oh, the
want.
Lord is my shirt. Yeah, yeah. Psalm
He
32.
Yeah, Psalm 32. That he has given me, and I have bossed it. I have bossed
Mm.
it completely.
So I can
By the way,
understand
Psalm
your
32 is also the one he uses in this thing. What is that Quentin Tarantino movie? The
Pulp
one with
Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Years later,
fiction.
imagine my surprise when Samuel L. Jackson is shooting one guy and he's telling the same thing.
That
Boss, I also know. I know this guy. Word to word, I know.
no,
He
I can
made me down to
understand.
lie in pastures green. He's beside me. Show me the faith and
No, I
glory.
can.
Follow me all the days of my life, and I shall be in the praise of Lord forever.
See, that's what that FOMO I can understand because I went to like all sorts of competition in my classroom because in my house also they said in my school they had a rule 11, 12 they will not send you for anything. The parents were also like 11, 12 very important college and all, so stop. So 10th I've gone for like radio. I went to Ramakrishna Mission for some Hindu based course.
Yeah.
Like what I was like last year, whatever. is taking me out of school and getting me an OD, I will do it. Like, I don't care.
Other than Rangoli, that year I did everything. Rangoli,
Wow.
our house teacher said, Mayur, please take it easy. There are people better than
Please,
you at this.
please.
You are taking up a spot. You're taking up a spot.
Unfortunately, my school, they only considered sports in the point system. None of the actual extracurricular activities I was good at, which is nothing related to sport, I could not contribute to the school.
Oh no, for us everything would count. So,
But
we would
listen,
have debate, elocution, rangoli, prayer chanting, flower arrangement, then every sport, cricket, soccer, volleyball. Girls had tennis, handball,
Coco.
and Coco used to be there. Kabaddi was there. Those are all the
none of the
games.
track and field stuff, like javelin.
That would only be like in odd years, in leap year. Like 1 year there would be a sports day thing, one day there'll be an annual day thing. So sports day, the year
Oh,
that has a sports day would have track and field and long jump, high jump, all of those. So those would be more in number because those points would add more, and then the other years would have um, these things and all that. But yeah, 10th grade, I
I
was like, we have to win because I was the captain. This other guy is the vice captain. We are only debate partners. So we're like rowdy number one, rowdy number two. We have to win. We have to crush all these other houses before we leave. There has to be a gap so big that no one can even come to it. Because that is how it was when I joined the first time. Because this boy, he had a brother who was elder brother. So his elder brother told him, "This house is better. That house is not good," and all that. And so that was our thing. Like, so when we leave, this fifth graders, they should think, "Okay, I want to come to Ashwatthama house." It should be their thing. They should want to come to Ashwatthama house. They should request the teacher to come to Ashwatthama house. And man, this is before Harry Potter, right? I have not even read Harry Potter. I don't think it was even, maybe it was out or whatever. It's not even like a big thing back then. So this is like, no, Ashwatthama House should have a legacy, and people should remember the name and all that. So that was, yeah.
Okay, I have to ask you this because this happened in my school. My school had a lot of extracurricular subjects, like not science, math, language, but we had like
yeah,
these
home
music.
science.
We had music, we had embroidery, we had cooking.
SUPW.
We had also like people coming and talking about different religions. So one week there was a Christian pastor who would come and talk to us. One week there would be like a guy who would come and talk to us about like Jainism and all. And then we had PT and we had like our library hours and all that, right? So were you guys really into it? Like and we had
No, for us
electricals,
it
like,
was a mandatory thing. So it was called SUPW, socially useful productive work. Wherein, so you would have carpentry, and embroidery, music, art, computers, and one more. I don't remember what that is.
basic electricals we had. Basic electricals.
Electrical, 6. So in 6, you can choose any 2.
Oh,
So
for us,
it was a
it was
mandatory.
not
You have
like
to
that.
choose any 2 in the 6, and you would have an exam also. You would have an exam. That exam would not determine your passing to the next year and all that, but it will show up on your report card as well. So
Same thing.
it would
And then
be
for
on
us,
on your report card. You'll get a grade and all that, but it would not affect. So if you fail in needlework, you'll still go to the next class.
yeah, but they'll say hak tu idu kuda theriyala.
Yeah. So, but it would be there. So electrical,
But
carpentry,
this is only with like 6th, 7th, or it was there till 10th.
It was there.
all
It
the
was
way.
there until 10th. Like, we had working Saturdays, right? So after a point in time, Saturdays was all SUPV. First 2
Okay.
hours, we'd have math or science. We had 8 into 40. And the first 2 hours, everything else is this only. So for a lot of us, it was jolly because it was like,
No,
hey,
for us, we'll be doing the week only. So because it was like every class has a thing, right? So it is not only Saturday week. So
for us, it was like all Saturdays.
We didn't have
had
Saturday
everyone.
working.
Saturday
You
was
were
off day.
lucky.
No, we
Yeah,
had no Saturday. So we had Monday to Friday. But what we had was we had NCC and Scouts.
I
So
was
that
in guides. I was in the
Scouts and
Scouts and
Guides.
Guides company.
yeah,
I was in the
Scouts and
guides
Guides we had.
company.
yeah. So
But we had
we had option to be in both. So I was in both NCC and Scouts. Scouts
What's
was
the
like
difference?
NCC is
NCC one is actually recognized by the governments. Like you go and march in the parade, Mari. It's organized like how an army is,
No, but
and
from a what you learn, like from
so
a
it's more
skill
Scouts
dis-
is more like life skills, right? So you'd learn more like
knots
how
and
yeah,
Scouts is very informal, Mayur. It's it's
yeah,
it's it's like you have a uniform. There'll be a company. You have like 1 or 2 meetups a year, and then you take part in your school Independence Day and all. NCC was actually a serious thing. Like you had to obey
yeah.
your troop commander. You have to
Like
obey
oh,
your captain.
you yeah, and you had like proper squadron and all of that. We were
Yeah,
assigned to an Air Force squadron actually. So as part of
oh,
my NCC, I've done like rifle shooting. We had to
they'll
we actually had to go fly in one of the gliders in Coimbatore to actually graduate from NCC and get your
the Sulur
certificate.
aerodrome, right? The
Sulu
aerodrome.
Aerodrome, yeah.
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And they used to do traffic. They were on traffic duty. So sometimes you'd see NCC cadets on traffic duty
yeah, but
in and
that
around
very
Coimbatore.
rare though. Very rare though. That's only when for example, during election time and all of that, right? When the
Special
Election
people
time and when VIPs were coming, right?
when they need extra manpower or
when
something
they
like that.
need
When they
extra
need.
manpower,
Interesting.
or
So
if there was
it
like
was.
some kind of a like an emergency and you had to deploy people to go help. That's when NCC would come in. They would almost so NCC was almost like the reserves.
Reserve Corps. I was going to
Yeah,
say that.
it was the reserve corps. So what would happen is you would do NCC A and B certificate in school, and you could do your C certificate in college. And if you finish C certificate, you can directly join the Officers Training Academy in the army. You had
In
Mm.
no
Chennai.
entrance requirement, nothing.
Yeah, our
Yeah,
undergrad had NCC,
yeah.
but again, we weren't because I guess you
But
had to do A and B and
A
all that.
and B.
You cannot
So
just show
I
up.
couldn't take part because you can't just show up and get into C. You
Yeah,
have to do
but
the A and
Scouts
B.
was a
And
big thing. Like they would every month they would have one night that they have to spend in the school, where they
Oh,
would
really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they would
That's pretty
bring
cool.
bag. They would sleep in the sleeping bags and have a bonfire and once a month. It used to be the
oh,
thing. Same thing
wow.
for guides also. They would have a thing and then they would go to the district meets and state meets and
Yeah.
all of that. Because I think there was one
And
kid, I think,
every school would have a different uniform for scouts for some reason. I never
yeah,
understood
I
that.
think there was
No,
one kid who
no.
became like a
You
president,
had
like a
the
president scout or something.
same blue uniform, but the scarf and the sigil used
Scarf
to
would
be
change.
different.
Cars
Yeah.
would
The
change based on what
scarf
level
would
you
change.
were. And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
you get a, there's one kid, I think, who became like a president scout or something like that
Oh,
and went through
Oh,
all those levels.
you
wow.
know, now that
In the here in the US, it is called an Eagle Scout.
yeah,
Hmm.
In Canada, I think it's called a Queen Scout,
I only remember the kid from Up Man. That's the only
and
scout I
then in
really
India, it used to
remember.
be called a President Scout. That's the highest, level in Scouts.
Yeah. I actually wanted to ask, did any of you have attached libraries in school or a
Oh yeah,
dedicated
we did.
library period?
We did. We had a
Did you
library
make
period. We
use
had a
of it?
librarian. Yeah, yeah, a lot. We used to.
We
So
used to
our
go and
library
fight for
period,
sports.
sports star. Ah, yeah,
Ah,
that is true.
that is
But
what I'm asking, right?
we had library and computer period, which was like side by side. Like in the sense, our library, half of the library became the computer lab. So
Sad, yeah.
you would
Uh,
be given a choice of going to the computer lab and the library. Everyone would go to the computer lab. I would go to the library.
no, library was a mandatory class for everyone, right? So it was not
Hmm.
part of SUPW. It was a mandatory thing. You all had to go to library. So either you sit and read the newspaper, or you sleep in the library if you want, or you go borrow a book, read a book, get a magazine, and you could check out books and so on.
Oh, I think I had something similar, but I loved going to the library because we had a big library in the beginning, which was like there used to be wooden stairs. So I used to love climbing up the wooden stairs and going and the smell of books and all. Like I love the smell of books, and I still read a lot on my iPad. And then we had a thing wherein our school offered a separate library membership. Like you pay one time 250 rupees or something. Until you pass out of school, you had that membership and you can borrow 3 books every week. at any time. You can go return and borrow. Plus the library period where you get one book. So I could borrow 4 books.
Oh,
So I used to borrow the books. And then in the end, I was the only person using the library. So I could go tell the librarian. Like they used to get this scholastic list because back in the days, Scholastic would like contribute books to the library. So we had a really nice librarian called Sudha for most of my schooling. So she'd call me over and she'll be like, "Hey, there's a list come from Scholastic. Tell me what you want." So,
Ah,
I used to go say, "Hey,
so
let's get the Mallory Towers."
So funnily
And
enough, even now, Scholastic, like my daughter's school, right? Scholastic does even now has a thing with the school, and they will come and do a sale in the school, and we go buy books through Scholastic. So yeah, it brought back memories
memories,
because
right?
growing up, either there was this company called CBT, Children's Book Trust,
Or
um,
Scholastic.
and Scholastic, right? Both of those were things that I remember. But yeah,
Yeah.
in school, yeah, I used to read books, but then college was when I don't think I've ever stepped into the library even once
I
in
started
undergrad
reading what?
because
I s-
not even once in 4 years, not in once. So much that for leaving college to get that no certificate, I had to go get the thing from I had to surrender my library card, and I don't have a library card. I never got a library card like in the first year, and then like, you surrender your library card, I'll give you NOC. I don't have a library card. He's like, no, you're lying. I do not have a library card. There is no record of me, check entering this library or even checking
library.
out a single book from this library. Like, no, you pay fine for losing a library card. I issue a new library card, then you give it to me, and then I'm going to give you NOC. And yeah, I was like, I don't know what happened. Something broke in me. Like, me and books is completely, changed.
I used to read a lot, man. Like school, I used to read a lot, so much that I said, right? Like up until late Scholastic. And then after that, when the librarian changed, the other librarian, they started getting more books. So we started getting like Barbara Cartland and we started getting the Russian authors and all that. So, they used to be like, "Hey, what do you want?" I'd be like, "Hey, can you get these 4, 5 books?" You know what I mean? So I read a lot of, and we had the Central Library in Coimbatore, which a lot of people don't realize. You had a lot of great books there. Uh, Konjo old books, but great books. So I had like multiple library memberships. And then I think I've done a lot of fraud tanam, okay? Like I'll sit in first bench, chemistry class will be going on. I'll have my chemistry book open and Ulukula Vanda, I'll be reading James Hadley Chase. That my dad had a bunch of James Hadley Chase. So I used to smuggle it to school. And chemistry book like my teacher would be writing organic chemistry equations and I'm reading the way the cookie crumbles, or I'm reading Anna Karenina, and no one was the wiser for it. Like
all
that's
I
the
was
stage
Seriously.
reading
in
was
life.
Archie's and Jughead. And now she's
No, that
talking
is,
about Anna Karina and all. Not Tinkle, Champak, Archie's.
I used to
Maximum
read.
one Arthur Conan Doyle. That's it.
Okay.
That's all I've only read. I have read
Oh,
the entire
I
Sherlock
used to.
Holmes omnibus. And that's I'm done.
Oh, I read a lot. I used to read Agatha Christie, and then you had the Russian classics. Like I feel that the best time to read Russian classics, right? Like you should read Tolstoy like when you are in like 13, 14, 15, and
Too many
then
words. Is
you
there a
read
chat GPT
Tolstoy when
Dostoevsky.
you're
version?
13, 14, 15 now.
Is there a chat GPT version of this?
I read way ahead of my time, man. Like I was reading Sidney Sheldon like when I was 10. And my dad never restricted me from any book. So he's like, read whatever it is and come and if you don't know anything or if you want to know more about something, come and talk to me is what he used to say. So I've
I think
read
I have
way,
read
way, way.
in 5, 6, maybe 7, but that's it. 8, 9, 10, no scene. We had other interests in life.
Standard தானே
My,
சொல்ற?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I
yeah,
was like 5, 6,
Sixth,
yeah, yeah.
7 you read
Like,
Sidney Sheldon.
see,
in fifth, sixth,
my,
and seventh, we probably read books, but 8, 9, 10th, and all, no books.
I
Books
used to
and me
read a
kind
lot.
of
Like
ended up.
Max,
my
you were
crush.
last bench debating champion, house captain. You had better things to do.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm telling you, but then like Yam knows, I think. Like my first serious crush was like a literary character, so that should say something about me.
I think that was probably true for a lot of us, but maybe not.
Yeah, I had a huge crush on Vandiyathevar because school போறதுக்கு முன்னாடி Ponniyin Selvan, like Kalki was running that issue, right? So I've smuggled Kalki into classrooms. where I have read that 4 pages of Kalki magazine without my teachers knowing because I wanted to know what was
Bundi,
happening to
you are the
Vandiyathevan.
type of person who probably read the Torchlight under the blanket and
Yeah,
thought
that
that
is how I have such glasses. No, even
why is the battery never running out in my Torchlight? The kind of books you were reading, your parents would probably be like, ஐயோ நான் சொல்லாமலே குழந்தை இவ்வளவு படிக்க.
no. In my house, they knew that I was only reading novels. I was reading like all other stuff except for school textbooks. I was reading everything.
I'm always in awe of people, who read a lot. Even now, like people do this book challenge. Like I know whatever month, there's some month in the year they do a book challenge, 30-day book challenge and all that number of books, and they track it on Twitter or X and all
Goodreads.
that.
That
You know,
Nana will remove that writing one or the reading one?
there's a reading one also. There's a book that people do,
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
like, I'm in awe of people. Like, how do you? I mean, it's a good thing. Like, I don't have time. I have way too many other hobbies in life to that, and
No.
that's what happened, I think, for me from eighth, ninth, and 10th. All these other things took over in life that I didn't have time for any Nancy Drew or, any of those
Hardy
books,
Boys.
Hardy
Growing
Boys.
up books, Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Famous
Yeah,
Five.
didn't have time for any of those after eighth. Yeah, that was the thing because eighth, ninth, and 10th were all, more. I was trying to get into the Rangoli team and the
I was trying to get to
You
the
did read the
Rangoli team
Bible
because
though, Max. So you did read a
I
pretty
couldn't.
complex book there.
I don't know. I have read only one verse that I know till this date.
32.
I'm 32.
Okay,
But yeah,
let's
we'll do
talk
anything to
about
win, right? That was our thing back then.
we've talked a lot about extracurriculars and SUPW and all that. I want to talk about recess. How many recesses did you guys have? Like, what was your school timings? How many recesses did you have, and what all fraudatanam you used to do during the recess period?
No, in primary we had like before lunch there was to be a break, and then there was lunch, and then afterwards it just became lunch. So from
I like how you put it.
you didn't get the extra break. So I think fifth and sixth, I think you got the break in between, or maybe only fifth, I think. But then from seventh, eighth, ninth, tenth, and all, it was just lunch.
Oh, we had like 3 breaks. We had before lunch break, and then after lunch break.
Yeah,
No, our
same
school was
here.
only till 3 o'clock, so it was like 8, 8:50, 8:45 was when the gates closed, and so 9 o'clock is the first class.
Yeah,
Yeah,
9 to
so
3:30.
9 to 3:30 or 9 to 3 was that thing.
Yeah.
Didn't it feel over long, guys? Because I went to a very different shift system school, okay? Because LKG, UKG was 9 to 12, 3 hour school, and they let you go. First to fifth was 12:45 p.m. You have to be in school. 1 p.m. class start ago. It'll end by 4:45.
What?
Okay, so it is 12:45 to 4:45 in the afternoon. First standard to fifth standard. Sixth standard
That
to
is pretty
12th
cool.
standard was 7:45 to 12:45. Avlada school, and we had 3 breaks. So when I went to college, I had
Which school have you? Is there a different? Is the abbreviation different? Like BVB is?
no.
Is there something
It's
else?
Bharatiya Vidya. It was actually necessitated by lack of building space because basically the school was in RS-Puram, right? They didn't have enough building space to run all 12 classes simultaneously from 8 to 3. They
Okay.
had a building in RS-Puram and it was very limited. So until they could source a different school, like they opened a different bigger campus. When I had passed out, they moved the school to a different campus. They created a new campus and they still kept this old campus for some other classes or something. But adu varaikkum vanda they were essentially running the school out of a small building in RS-Puram. So you
It's a
couldn't have
makeshift
like
school.
12
Then you
classes.
don't count. Sorry, you cannot put Bhavanite in
Hey,
your LinkedIn profile.
I
Sorry.
am not putting also,
I
man.
crossed
But
I crossed a school building. Okay, it looked like one jail from some old 60s Tamil movie.
yeah, I said it's a very old building. They were in that building and then they opened a bigger campus in Ajjanur. And the Ajjanur campus வந்து நான் 7th இருக்கிறதுல இருந்து they were constructing. They had
Is that
acquired the
still in
land.
Coimbatore or Anjanur?
Yeah. Coimbatore only. Now it is in Coimbatore. Back then it was
Now it is in Coimbatore.
No,
now
for us
like
it was 8:40 to 3 for everyone, like even primary, because my brother was in primary, right? And so we've gone home together and come to school together and all.
I enjoyed a lot in school because 9:30 lunch break, my parents will come and drop off hot breakfast. which would be like hot idlis. Like
Wait,
my
7:45 you start school and 9:30 is lunch break.
yeah, 7:45 the classes will start. You had to be in school like by 7:15.
Who was the
So
education minister in Tamil Nadu? Like, how are they permitting
so
this thing?
so இல்ல நான் அதான் சொல்றேன்ல, it used to be
வாழ்க்கை
very chill because no, I used to wake up very early, man. My auto or whatever used to come at 6:30. We would be
the
in
fact
school
that
in
you
7.
finish at 12:45 gives me like absolutely no reason to pity you.
This is
No,
not a school
you don't
system. You
You
were
literally
don't
homeschooled.
could
have to
see all the
pity
best
me.
Cartoon Network shows. Come on, are you
You were
kidding me?
essentially homeschooled, I guess.
I could come and see test match cricket, man. I could come, lunch would have happened, and by the time I
See,
come
you're
home, I'll
too
watch
advanced for your age.
cricket.
When I was in school, I was only interested in Cartoon Network till that point. So you could come home and start watching like Centurions from 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
That
So
itself
we had
is a
to
big
rush
thing.
home. We had to rush home, and because it would start at 3 o'clock. The SWAT
Yeah,
cats and all would
Centurions would start at
follow.
3,
Yeah, I
3:30 would
used
be
to
SWAT Cats,
come.
4 o'clock was
I used to
Captain
come home.
Planet, 4:30 was something else, and 5 o'clock was Dexter.
I used to come
That was
home
like
in
a
time for
routine.
Roadrunner show. I used to be at home for like Roadrunner show
You're
because I
watching the
lived
2
10.
o'clock show,
2
the
o'clock
1:30
they
show
had that.
you're watching.
No, 1
Yeah.
o'clock show I
The
used to be
Space
home
Ghost and
because
all
I
should be
lived
watching
10
at 2
minutes.
o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, Casper the Friendly Ghost. I used to be home by 1, man. My home was like 10 minutes away. So, I used to be the first person to get dropped in my auto. And 1 o'clock, I'm at home eating hot lunch, watching Cartoon Network with Sambar Sadam on my plate. That's how my school was. Like, that's why I wantedly brought up dresses because I was like, what fun things did you do? Like, what we like to do was
We stayed in
9:30.
school. Not too
Yeah.
much fun.
We had an
Beyond that.
education.
We had
We had sometimes we used to go out 9:30 அங்க ஒரு
We got
hot
an
breads
education.
இருக்கும்.
You got library books. This
Yeah.
we are on totally different lanes.
I'm telling you, right? Like,
By the time I woke up, it would have been her lunch hour. Like, can you imagine
No.
going to school at 7:45 and then 9:30 is lunch break? இப்படி கண்ணை மூடி கண்ணை திறந்தா lunch ting. That's a dream scenario.
Yeah,
It
my
gets
mom used
delivered
to.
also.
ஆமா.
It's delivered also because 6 o'clock who can cook? No, my mom will get up 8:30, cook hot. It used to come. Like, I'm telling you, I enjoyed school that way because yeah, you're right. I went to competitions. I read library books. I
You never
basically
had an
went.
education. We have established the fact.
ஆமா. She's more like self-taught and the homeschooling மாதிரி
You're
தான் அது.
homeschooled. You're essentially you didn't realize it, but you're homeschooled.
For Namke Vaste, there is one BVB. Someone must have figured out that it's a popular brand or something and put that on the board of her school.
No, go and talk to anyone from Coimbatore from that era, man. We really had a
There
strict
was
system.
there was recently a thing, right, where a guy somewhere was running a bank, on his own without it being a bank,
No,
and people
hey,
really
it
thought it
was
was a bank,
something,
and then they
SBI
came.
branch. SBI
Yeah,
branch.
yeah, some branch, not SBI, but some bank. He started a
Dude.
branch on his own,
ஆமா.
hired a few security people, and people thought that this is a real bank,
Dude,
and they're being.
GD school was also a shift system school, okay? They ended at 1:30.
Lot of schools were like that. I don't deny it. But
Then what?
the fact that he had 3 recesses in that 5 hours is what is shocking for me. Because there were like other
Yeah,
schools also.
we had one break from 9:30 to 9:50, 20-minute lunch break. Then we had one break from 11:10 to
Lunch break at
11:20.
9:30.
Don't call it lunch.
I mean, that
They
itself
used
is like lost on me.
More number of times you say lunch, like I don't know.
Okay, break number 2. Break number 3 was 11:10 to 11:20, and then I think break number 2 was 8:10 to 8:20 or something. But then those breaks were like all washroom breaks and all. During class, we were not allowed to go for like washroom or anything. And a 10-minute break, like, people used to go refill their water bottle, do like
So strict.
Yeah.
Ayyo, pavam. I feel so bad.
I know.
yeah, basically jail homeschool.
They would come to school at 7:45 and
You know
they
how
would get
difficult
they
it was
have
to wake up at 7?
they have to wait till 8:20 to have their first break to fill water bottle in that 45 minutes or
How
less.
many?
No,
How
but
many
no
problems
one
they
is-
would have faced.
No, but no one is thinking about how difficult it was to wake up at that hour. And
No,
because my
See,
schooling
the
was like
point is
that,
you are thinking about how difficult it was to wake up. Do you think anyone in that school would have been awake at that point, including the teachers? No one was awake. So the first 2 hours of school was basically time pass. And then you had breakfast.
they
And by
don't
that
tell
time,
that.
by that time you had breakfast, it was time for lunch and then you were leaving. Like all you had time was to have breakfast, have one coffee break. By the time the coffee break finished at 9:20 and the teachers had finally woken up, you had one more class or two classes maximum with a break in between. And then
and
you
then,
left,
and then gone home and had lunch.
had lunch. It's like this thing, what is that? The Hobbits only, man. Second breakfast, man, second lunch. Or 9:30 ku one lunch, 1:45 ku one lunch. That too, what? Hot sambar rice in front of TV watching Cartoon
That's
Network.
that's the best thing I enjoyed about
I think
school.
I'm done.
Like because I
I'm
used
done. I
to.
can't listen to this anymore.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think that's a nice way to conclude the pod, la, po.
yes, no, I am scarred. I can't go to sleep thinking of this flawed education system that you've gone through and claim to have been part of. This fake school that you went, which masqueraded as Bharati Bhavan.
It was Bharat. What do you
It was
mean?
one of
Yeah,
those
can
diploma mills.
Okay, on that note, this is the Chai Tea podcast. We talked about two schools and one school that we found out later was not a school. But if anyone knows of this said school or has been in another similar fake sounding school, please let us know. Or you can reach out
Or
to us on
don't.
X, on
don't
X or Instagram or any of these where your handles are.
blue
Also,
sky.
Blue Sky, yes, any Bhavanites, please reach out on Blue Sky.
Or
Uh,
LinkedIn at this point, I guess.
I
Please,
don't,
Bhavanite is nothing to be proud of. I
for
will say
you,
that.
clearly. For you,
No, for
clearly, not to
him.
be.
The people who studied there would have been proud of it. If you just went there for time pass, obviously it's just a lunch break for you.
So, signing off from the Charity Podcast. This is Max, Yam, Bundi.
Bye, guys.
And like I said, you can follow us, you can find us on YouTube now. So please let us know. And we'll be back soon. Hopefully, another couple of episodes in the month of March. We'll see you.
Thank you for listening. I hope you liked it.